Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Negotiators say they've reached a tentative deal on border security that could avoid another partial government shutdown. I'm Mark Liverman with more on what could get in the way before Friday's deadline.
There have been complaints of extremely cold conditions at the Montana State Prison. I'll tell you about it coming up.
Good morning to you. Welcome to your Tuesday. It is 6:30. I'm Missy O'Malley with Chet Lehman. Our own Matt Elwell will have our forecast here in just a moment. Top story for you here. Congressional staffers are working out the details, but negotiators say they have reached a tentative deal on border security.
All this in hopes to avoid another government shutdown on Friday. CBS's Mark Liverman has more.
Reached an agreement in principle.
Lawmakers on Capitol Hill say they've struck a deal to avert another partial government shutdown.
There's not a single one of us is going to get every single thing we want, but nobody does. But we're going to get what is best for the United States.
Congress has to pass a bill that President Trump will sign before a Friday night deadline.
Does the White House support this?
We think so. We hadn't put all the particulars together yet, but we believe from our dealings with them and the latitude they've given us, they will support it.
Congressional aides say the bill contains about $1.3 billion for just 55 miles of border fencing, far less than the $5.7 billion the president has asked for.
But if we had proper border security, including a very powerful wall, we wouldn't have to work so hard.
As lawmakers were working, President Trump was holding a campaign-style rally in Texas.
If we didn't do that shutdown, we would not have been able to show this country, these politicians, the world, what the hell is happening with the border.
It's unclear if President Trump supports the deal.
Hard to even fathom. We're just now starting to get caught back up.
800,000 government workers are again facing the prospect of missing more paychecks.
In case this continues, what we've done is cut back on any extra things, going to the movies, eating out.
More details of the funding bill are expected to be released later today. Mark Liverman, CBS News.
Now, White House officials say they are waiting for the particulars before commenting. We'll continue to follow the progress of that story.
Certainly. Matt joins us now. Not a terrible start to a day.
Oh, gosh, no.
And I feel, wow, we're in the 20s. It's
right.
A heat wave.
Our desires have so shrunk. We haven't been near average.
It's
for
all it's all relative at this point. By the time you get into winter, when I say it's not as cold or it's warm, it means it's in the 20s.
Yeah.
Temperatures into the 20s. We'll call it warm at this point. We still have some wind chill issues with wind chills dropping into the single digits in some cases. I don't expect a ton of snow for most of the area today, but as you head into your Wednesday and Thursday, we start to see some changes. In fact, we have winter storm watches out for several counties in the area. We're going to break down what you can expect this week into your Valentine's Day and beyond. It's all coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. Now, our top local story for you here. A nearly 8-hour standoff in Belgrade is over. Police say they used non-lethal methods to disarm and arrest a 56-year-old man late last night.
Yeah, the incident began about 2:45 yesterday afternoon on North Kennedy Street when a woman was assaulted inside a business. She ran outside to escape, was assisted by people who saw her flee that building. Officers then arrived a short time later, called an ambulance to treat the injured woman, who was taken to Bozeman Health Deaconess Hospital. The man stayed inside the building, would not respond to law enforcement, who tried to make contact with him. About 10:30 last night, officers entered the building, captured 56-year-old David Harold Hickson. He is currently being held in the Gallatin County Detention Center on charges of strangulation and assault with a weapon. Belgrade Police, Gallatin County deputies, and the Montana Highway Patrol all responded to the call. No reports of injuries to officers during this incident.
And complaints are being reported about severe lack of heating in at least one building at the Montana State Prison.
MTN's John Amy heard from the Montana ACLU about claims of extremely cold conditions.
A civil rights group has confirmed to MTN News that it's looking into complaints of a severe lack of heat in some of the buildings at the Montana State Prison. The Montana American Civil Liberties Union has received reports of a severe lack of heat in some of the buildings at the state prison in Deer Lodge. This lack of heat occurred during the cold snap, which struck Montana earlier this month. The ACLU reports the cold was so severe that frost would appear on the inside of cell windows. According to a statement from the ACLU, depriving people who are incarcerated adequate warmth is cruel and unusual punishment and is blatantly unconstitutional. It doesn't matter what it takes. MSP and the Department of Corrections must fix this issue now. A relative of an inmate who filed a complaint with the ACLU said she's spoken with other inmates, and they say the problem is in a building where many inmates sleep at night.
There's guys that are freezing all night long and just praying for daylight, you know, so that they can get access to some warmth. And I don't care what you did, you know, if you're incarcerated, you've got the right to be treated like a human.
The ACLU reports that the prison told them that they're having a problem with one of the boilers at the facility. The ACLU is urging the prison to take care of this problem soon. In Deer Lodge, John Amy, MTN News.
Now, the Montana State Prison told MTN it had a backup boiler go down on February 5th, but that it was fixed that afternoon. Prison insists that they've since then there have been no more reports from staff or inmates of severe cold in that unit.
And on a mostly party line vote, the Montana Senate has endorsed a bill requiring all abortion providers to give women the chance to see an ultrasound of their fetus. Now, the Senate voted 31-19 for the bill, with all 30 Senate Republicans in favor and 1 Democrat, Gene Volkovich of Anaconda. Senate Bill 100 says abortion providers in Montana must tell women contemplating an abortion that they can view an ultrasound image of the fetus and listen to its heartbeat if audible. The providers would also have to get a signed statement from the woman acknowledging that she was told of this opportunity. The bill's sponsor, Senator Keith Regier of Kalispell, says it's similar to the consent forms that patients must sign for any other surgical medical procedure. But Democratic Senator Diane Sands of Missoula disagreed. She said it's a form of harassment of women seeking an abortion and an unneeded intrusion into the doctor-patient relationship.
It's our opinion that the effect of this bill is to harass doctors and medical clinics with the effect that it will interfere with a woman making a constitutionally protected right, and we are voting no.
At 3.5 weeks of gestation, a heartbeat can be heard. At 6 weeks, hands and feet can be seen developing. Helping a woman make the best choice should be the goal of every medical provider as well as legislator.
Now, after a final Senate vote this week, the bill proceeds to the Montana House.
In other news this morning, in Montana, drugs are infiltrating our community faster than law enforcement can keep up. In fact, meth prosecutions have increased 33% statewide as drug traffickers with direct lines to Mexican drug cartels use our interstate system as a drug superhighway. In a special investigation, we dive into Montana's meth epidemic and learn how law enforcement is tasked with stopping the drugs. On the interstate, Montana Highway Patrol acts as the first line of defense in the fight against meth. In 2017, the Montana legislature funded a criminal interaction team. 6 full-time troopers with specialized training in narcotics who are conducting high volumes of traffic stops looking for criminal activity and drugs. It's led by Sergeant Jim Sanderson, who says the team has made a dent in the drug operations.
We can at the very least hurt them where it hurts the most, and that's by taking their product off the road, and that's by taking the criminal proceeds from the sale of that product off the road, and so that's what we're specializing on.
Now tonight in a special investigation, Andrea Lutz takes us along with troopers to show us how fast and how often drugs are seized on Montana streets, shedding light on these drugs and how they get here. Part 1 of our Drug Superhighway airs tonight at 9 on Montana at 10 on KBZK and KXLF.
And a legislative committee heard emotional testimony yesterday for a bill to create a state family leave policy and insurance fund for Montana workers. But the state's main business lobby came out against the measure. House Bill 208, sponsored by Democratic Representative Mafi Funk of Helena, would set up the fund. Employers and their workers would fund it, and covered workers would take up to 12 weeks of paid leave to care for a new child or a relative in need of care. The Montana Chamber of Commerce opposed the measure, saying it's not workable and would end up being way too costly for small businesses. But more than a dozen people testified for the measure, including Nina Hezener, who said paid leave allowed her to take time from work to be with her dying mother.
This past week, I was able to spend time with her while she lay dying. She passed away yesterday morning. Paid leave allowed me to focus on my family. And I didn't have to choose between money and my mom.
Wow. The House and Business and Labor Committee took no immediate action to that bill.
Well, across the nation yesterday, people learned about using 211 instead of dialing 911. 211 is a number anyone can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year if you're in any type of crisis. When you call, you can get contacted information, referrals to various resources depending on your crisis.
A lot of times when you're in a crisis, you don't know what to do. And it's very helpful to have a live person on a phone who's trained to help with crises, to walk you through the steps and help you assess what the risks are, to help you figure out how you can help someone who may be suicidal, having an addiction challenge.
The Greater Gallatin United Way will be raising awareness about 211 all week by leaving flyers on doorsteps. And if you're interested in volunteering, you can visit our website for more information.
Really cool service.
211.
Even if you have questions about, where to get counseling, where's your local food bank, just really simple questions.
211.
There you go. There you go. It is time for a quick break. Here's a look ahead on Montana This Morning and CBS This Morning.
New advancements in breast cancer, screenings and treatments are saving many lives. I'm Kenneth Craig with a look at the new study.
Good morning ahead on CBS This Morning. We're tracking the very active weather pattern that has 2 storms on both sides of the country, bringing snow, ice, and rain to millions. Plus, only on CBS This Morning, we'll take you on an expedition to the South Pacific. Find out if researchers were able to find a sunken U.S. aircraft carrier lost during World War II. See you with all that at 7.